गुड आफ्टरनून। ओम शांति। प्लीज कंफर्म करें, क्या आवाज क्लियर है? इज माय वॉइस क्लियर टू यू? ओके, ग्रेट। सो हाउ आर यू एंड हु आर यू? ओके, थैंक यू फॉर कंफर्मिंग। So yesterday we talked about, if someone asks you, you have to feel it and you have to tell it. What? Yes, we are very powerful, we are peaceful, but what we discussed yesterday, who am I? Do you remember? Who am I? Okay. Yes, I am this moment. We talked about being in the present. So we said that I am this moment, right? Hmm. And where are you? Yes. Where are you? I'm here and now. Yes. Very good. Very good. So you practiced being in the present. We will talk about it later. And now let me start reading the book. So few instructions again, that yes, we are trying. We posted a poll also in the group. So this is going to be mix of English and Hindi. Hindi, I will not use much, but I will use. If you are not very good in English, not very well versed with English, you don't understand much, it's okay. I will explain in Hindi. ठीक है, मैं हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन करूंगा अच्छे से। ओके, तो ये जो बुक है, इसमें शुरू के जो 15-20 पेजेस हैं, जो 15-20 पेजेस हैं, उसमें आपको थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा पेशेंस रखना होगा। आपको थोड़ा सा समझने में, उससे ग्रेस करने में थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा। So don't think that I'm not able to understand this. This is heavy for me. It is going to take few days, at least a week for you to understand this, because in this book also, in starting, this book gets a little heavy, but after that it gets smooth. So we have to be together in this for few days, but this book is very powerful, and we are going to understand so many layers of our mind through this, of ego, of relationships, of our judgments, of our uh, perceptions, कैसा हम दुनिया को देखते हैं, कैसा हम समझते हैं, हम बहुत अच्छे से समझेंगे। एंड थिंकर एंड ऑब्जर्वर, है ना, उसकी आज बहुत डिटेल में बात करेंगे। ओके, रेडी? चलो, so let's take a minute and experience. Tell yourself that I am in the present, no past, no future. I am an observer, not a thinker. So I see that I am in the present now. So let's go more into the depth of but I am not my mind. So how to do that? So can you please zoom a bit for people from YouTube? It will be easier for them to see that. Yes, today we will be reading. If you are having a hard copy, so page number 14 to 20. And if you have PDF from page number 21 to 28, you may have different PDF, but this is where we are starting. So we left at that I am an observer, not a thinker. So maybe you are having this question. That's why the person who is a seeker is asking the same question to the author. That what exactly do you mean by watching the thinker? When someone goes to the doctor and says, I hear a voice in my head, he or she will most likely to be sent to a psychiatrist. The fact is that in a very similar way, virtually everyone hears a voice or several voices in their head all the time. The involuntary thought process that you don't realize you have the power to stop. Continuous monologues or dialogue, right? So when someone goes to doctor and says that I hear some voice in my head, so what the doctor says that you go to a psychiatrist, right? So in a very similar way, we all get these different voices, isn't it? We get negative thoughts, we get some voices which stops us from doing the good things. Involuntary thought, we don't want these thoughts to come, but they come. हम चाहते नहीं ऐसे विचार आए मन में, पर वो आते हैं, राइट? एक मोनोलॉग या डायलॉग चलता है, एक सेंटेंस या डिफरेंट लेयर्स ऑफ सीरीज ऑफ सेंटेंसेस आते हैं, राइट? You have probably come across mad people in the street. Why mad? Because they may not be mad. Actually, we all are mad. So you have probably come across mad people in the street instantly talking or muttering to themselves. Well, that's not much different from what you and all other normal people do, except that you don't do it out loud. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, complains, likes, dislikes, and so on. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. Mm. So the voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. It may be reviving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Here, it often imagines things going wrong and negative outcomes. This is called worry. And sometimes this soundtrack is accompanied by visual images or mental movies. Even if the voice is relevant to the situation at hand, it will interpret it in terms of past. This is because the voice belongs to your conditioned mind, which is the result of all your past history as well as of the collective cultural mindset you inherited. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get a totally distorted view of it. It is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy. Many people live with a tormentor in their head that continuously attacks and punishes them and drains them of vital energy. It is the cause of untold misery and unhappiness as well as of disease. So let me explain. So the question was, what do you mean by watching the thinker? So author says that actually we all get voices in our head. You have seen people on the streets, they talk to themselves. What we call them mad. But you know what? We don't speak it out, but every one of us gets that kind of thoughts. They are not able to, you know, uh, uh, filter it out. They have to speak it. They just speak, but we don't speak. But actually, there is a constant thoughts going on. And what is the quality of those noises? Comments, speculation. कमेंट करना, स्पेकुलेशन, यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, अरे ये मेरे बारे में गलत तो नहीं कर रहे, आई डोंट ट्रस्ट देम, व्हाट दे आर डूइंग, व्हाई दे आर डूइंग, you know you keep on, you don't think very good, you judge. What is the first thought comes in our mind when we see one person? If you're sitting anywhere, if you're traveling and you see a person who is totally differently dressed, what do? You judge them, right? We all judge them. We compare, we complain, likes, dislike, sometimes of the past, recent past, or distant past, or the future, right? And along with that, he's saying that the mental movies, which means that mental images comes up, even if the things are relevant. Let's say somebody is not doing good to you, maybe that is right. But what is going to happen? It will interpret in the terms of past. It will, it will bring all the past memories. It will remind you, the mind will remind you of all the past. This is what happened 2 years ago. Because this voice, he said, belongs to your conditioned mind. What is the conditioned mind? Like same thing. Uh, what was your environment? What was your culture? So we think, we see the world, we um, judge people, we think like that based on our condition. So we get the totally distorted view of it. This is what the author is trying to say, is that do not believe the thinker, because it is judging, it is speculating, it is thinking that everyone is against me, I am not good enough, I don't deserve this, nobody loves me. You get that anxiety attack, and you start believing it. So that's what author is trying to say, that it is a distorted view what you are getting. It is a mental image. So do not believe everything you think. That's what the author is trying to say, that it is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy, which means, इसका क्या मतलब है? ये अनकॉमन नहीं है, ये बहुत, दिस इज मोर लाइकली टू हैपन, ये ज्यादा चांसेस हैं होने के कि जो वो वॉइस है ना, अंदर के जो आपके थॉट्स आते हैं, they are your worst enemy. They will show you the things which may not be true, which will not be true. So many people live with the tormentor in their head. You know that, right? Maybe some of you feel that you don't we don't feel like spending time with us. You have observed people, and maybe it happens with everyone. It still happens. Sometimes it still happens with me also. That I don't want to sit with myself. I want something. I want someone. And it used to happen in the past a lot because that tormentor, that voice is there, that judgment, the conditioned mind, that noise is there. So are you able to understand? Are we on the same page? Are you understanding this? The essence behind what the author is trying to say? So this voice, this I would say noise, attacks is us in the present moment and punishes and drains us of all the vital energy. Those negative thoughts, those judgments, comments, dislikes, all those things drains us. It is the cause of untold misery and unhappiness as well as of disease. Even if the physical disease, we feel misery, unhappy, right? तो क्या हम सेम पेज पे हैं अभी तक? सभी को समझ आ रहा है जो बात हो रही है? आगे चलें, आगे बढ़े? ओके, यूट्यूब. Yes, we have space on Zoom, so we can send the Zoom link also. You all can come to Zoom. Okay, so let's proceed. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. So the good news is that you can free yourself from your mind. We are talking about symptoms, but we can free yourself from our mind. This is the only true liberation. You can take the first step right now. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that you have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watching the thinker, which is another way of saying listen to the voice in your head, be there as the witnessing presence. When you listen to that voice, listen to it impartially. This is to say, do not judge. Do not judge or condemn what you hear. For doing so, you would mean that the same voice has come in again through the back door. You will soon realize there is the voice, and here I am listening to it, watching it. This I am realization. This I am realization, this sense of your own presence is not a thought. It arises from beyond the mind. So let's decode this. So the good news is that we can free ourselves from our mind, and this is the only true liberation. यही सच्ची आजादी है कि ये जो बिना बात के थॉट्स आते हैं, those negative thoughts, those self-harming thoughts, intrusive thoughts, delusion, illusion. The good news is we can free ourselves. How to do that? Like I said yesterday, that the moment you realize that you are not in the present, you are in the present, which means how to be in the present, how to observe, how to liberate yourself is start noticing it. Start paying attention to what am I thinking. This is what the acknowledgement is, that what kind of thoughts, what kind of repetitive thoughts, what are those patterns my mind is creating, that thinker is creating. And while doing so, the very, very, very important thing is listen to it impartially. जब चेक करोगे ना बार बार, क्या मैं प्रेजेंट में हूं, अगर मैं नहीं हूं, तो क्या थॉट चल रही है, क्या चल रहा है मन में, थिंकर क्या कह रहा है, उसे सुनना कैसे है? इम्पार्शली। इम्पार्शली मतलब दुखी नहीं होना है कि अरे ये क्या थॉट्स चल रहे हैं। तो डोंट जज दोस थॉट्स। जजिंग मीन्स I why am I thinking like that? This is not a positive thought. I should not think like that. This is not a way to deal with it. This is not a way to heal with it. So the way is listen to it impartially. Don't judge, don't criticize, just do one thing, just observe. Okay, this thought is coming up. Okay, that's it. So this is the realization of I am. Like this I am realization that I am observing it, and this is the thinker. So what we are trying to do, we are creating a gap. हम अपने ट्रू सेल्फ में, व्हाट इज बीइंग, व्हाट इज ट्रू सेल्फ, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट सोल, soul, consciousness, and soul has virtues, seven virtues. Observing is the power of soul. So I am not my mind, which means I am not my thinker. So I am able to observe my thoughts. If we reach this level, no, things will start getting better. Life will start getting better, and we will start getting healed. So this is what he is saying, that this I am realization, that I am observing it, this sense of your own presence is not a thought. This is not a thought. This is beyond mind, which is being. You understand? थोड़ा मुश्किल तो नहीं हो रहा कि we will unpack it, that how it is. This is beyond mind. This is what the soul consciousness is. But this is what I am feeling. This is what soul consciousness is. Right? Let's proceed. Okay. Hmm. Just to make sure everyone is on the same page. So yeah, relevant question someone has asked, what to do if past things sometimes come in the present? So again, we have to tell ourselves that I have to be in the present. My past is making things opaque. My past is creating some mental images which may not be true, which may not be relevant. And that is taking away my energy, my vital energy. So be in the present, come in the present. We'll unpack this slowly and steadily. So when you listen to a thought, you are aware not only of the thought, but also of yourself as the witness of the thought. A new dimension of consciousness has come in. As you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence, your deeper self, behind or underneath the thought, as it were. The thought then loses its power over you and quickly subsides because you are no longer energizing the mind through identification with it. This is the beginning of end of involuntary and compulsive thinking. When a thought subsides, you experience a discontinuity in the mental stream, a gap of no mind. At first, the gaps will be short, a few seconds perhaps, but gradually they will become longer. When these gaps occur, you feel a certain stillness and peace inside you. This is the beginning of your natural state of felt oneness with being, which is usually obscured by the mind. With practice, the sense of stillness and peace will deepen. In fact, there is no end to its depth. You will also feel a subtle emanation of joy arising from deep within, the joy of being. Okay. So, author is saying that when you listen to a thought, when I reach this level that I am able to listen to the thought, you are aware not only of the thought, but also of yourself as the witness of thought. Not just the thought, not just mind, soul conscious also, that who is witnessing the thought. So a new dimension of consciousness has come in. This is what the starting of being soul conscious is. And this is a wonderful feeling. Reading this, I feel nostalgic. I'm going back to the days when I first read it. And like I said yesterday, I used to be like, wow, let me practice this. And when I started practicing it, as the author is saying that uh, initially it is going to be for few seconds, then it is going to increase, and then you will start feeling a river of joy within. So what we have to do, that as we listen to the thought, we feel a conscious presence, my deeper self, and uh, my deeper self is behind that thought, underneath that thought. मतलब कि वो thought भी है और मैं एक ऑब्जर्वर की तरह देख भी रहा हूँ. सो क्या हो रहा है, एनर्जी डिवाइड हो रही है, अटेंशन डिवाइड हो रही है. पहले वो सभी एनर्जी कहाँ जाती थी? इनिशियली व्हाट यूज्ड टू हैपन, that all my mental energy, vital energy was going to that thought. So when I was giving 100% energy to that thought, what was happening? It was getting energized and it was creating another thought, a series of thoughts, and a series of negative or waste thoughts. So what is happening? I'm creating, I'm applying a break to that thought pattern, that series of thought pattern, and what am I doing? That I am observing it. So what is happening? That a gap of no mind, which means we start feeling that there is something beyond mind. That is the moment when we start being peaceful, start being happy, start feeling liberating. That wow, I have that power to be free from my old, compulsive, involuntary, negative, self harming thought. As the author says, these gaps of no mind, no thought at all, no past, no future, no thought means you will be having a thought of being in the present, but not that compulsive past or future. They will start increasing and you will start feeling that stillness and peace inside you. This was obscured. Obscured means there was an obstacle to feeling this. एक कुछ अड़चन था, एक कुछ था जो माइंड हमें रोक देता था, उसको कवर कर देता था, जो हम ये इनर स्टिलनेस, पीस, जॉय, हैप्पीनेस को फील नहीं कर पाते थे. तो अब क्या होने लग जाएगा? एक पीस, अ जॉय ऑफ बीइंग, द सोल कॉन्शियसनेस फील होने लग जाएगी. ठीक है? कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड? क्या बात करते करते वो फील भी कर पा रहे हैं? वी ऑल कैन डू दैट, दैट गैप ऑफ नो माइंड. ठीक है? कैन वी डू दैट? कैन वी जस्ट टेक अ मिनट एंड जस्ट सी that I am an observer and not a thinker? Just see what kind of thoughts are running in your mind and don't identify with it. Just see them, observe them. When you're seeing them, you're creating a gap of no mind. I am in the present. There is no thought. कोई और बात नहीं. I'm feeling that presence, that joy, free, liberation. आजाद फील कर रहा हूँ कि पावर आ रही है थॉट से आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करने की. दैट्स ग्रेट. ओके, ठीक है. अभी तक अच्छा लग रहा है सभी को? एवरीवन फीलिंग गुड? इज इट हेल्पिंग यू आउट? इज इट मेकिंग यू अंडरस्टैंड मोर spiritually, mentally? Can you understand if are you able to understand? Anyone wants to just write that, yes, I get these self-harming thoughts, and now I'm able to understand that how to deal with it, and what is the root of it, and I'm getting that homework. I'm understanding the depth of my being, that how can I do it? How can I cure it? That's very good, very good. Great. So let's proceed. Okay. So author is clearing one thing, that it is not a trance-like state. We have to understand, I'll explain later. It is not a trance-like state, not at all. There is no loss of consciousness here. The opposite is the case. If the price of peace were a lowering of your consciousness, and the price of stillness a lack of vitality and alertness, then they would not be worth having. In this state of interconnectedness, you are much more alert, much more awake than in the mind identified state. You are fully present. It also raises the vibrational frequency of the energy field that gives life to the physical body. As you go more deeply into the realm of no mind, as it is sometimes called in the East, you realize the state of pure consciousness. In East, we call it sunya, sunya sthiti, hai na? In that state, you feel your own presence with such intensity and such joy that all thinking, all emotions, your physical body, as well as the whole external world become relatively insignificant in comparison to it. And yet, this is not a selfish but a selfless state. It takes you beyond what you previously thought of as yourself. That presence is essentially you, and at the same time, inconceivably greater than you. What I'm trying to convey here may sound paradoxical or even contradictory, but there is no other way that I can express it. The author is trying to say that this is not a trance-like state. What is the trance-like state? People go to trance when there is no consciousness here. But what he is trying to say is that when we start observing our thoughts, when we start being in the present, this is actually, we are more alert, we are more peaceful, we are more happy, we are more energetic, we are more, the vibrational frequency, the healing power increases, and this gives life to the physical body also. We start feeling more energetic. So he's saying this is not selfish, this is actually selfless, which means that we feel interconnected. Initially, what we call ourselves, I am this, I am that, We start going more inside, and we start feeling the reality of who am I actually, not that mental pollution, not that mind identified, not that my thought that, we get that those self-harm, self-lowering, low self-esteem, I'm not good, I'm this and that, people are like that. No, this is what the true meaning, we will start experiencing the true joy and true peace. Okay, I'm not going much detailed explanation of this because we will start understanding it in the following pages. Okay, so next is instead of watching the thinker, you can also create a gap in the mind stream simply by directing the focus of your attention into the now. Just become intensely conscious of the present moment. This is a deeply satisfying thing to do. In this way, you draw consciousness away from your mind activity and create a gap of no mind in which you are highly alert and aware but not thinking. This is the essence of meditation. I'll explain. In your everyday life, you can practice this by taking any routine activity that normally is only a means to an end and giving it your fullest attention so that it becomes an end in itself. For example, every time you walk up and down the stairs in your house or place of work, pay close attention to every step, every moment, even your breathing. Be totally present. Or when you wash your hand, pay attention to all the sense perceptions associated with the activity, the sound and feel of the water, movement of your hand, the scent of soap, and so on. Or when you get in the car, after you close the door, pause for a second and observe the flow of your breath. Become aware of a silent but powerful sense of presence. There is one certain criteria by which you can measure your success in this practice, the degree of peace that you feel within. So, the single most vital step on your journey towards enlightenment is this: learn to disidentify from your mind. Every time you create a gap in the stream of mind, the light of your consciousness grows stronger. One day you may catch yourself smiling at the voice in your head as you would smile at the antics of a child. This means that you no longer take the content of your mind all that seriously, as your sense of self does not depend on it. Wow. So, what author is trying to say and explaining the meaning of meditation is that apart from watching the thinker, which we have to do, which we have to see that where my mind is going, just keep coming to the present, that I am in the present moment. Feel that present moment, which means he's saying whatever you do, even walking, even doing the simple things, even studying, even washing the dishes, washing the clothes, just see that am I in the present. Feel everything. Feel the water, like when you're bathing. Feel the water. Feel the aura. Feel the scent. Feel the feel your environment. For example, I remember that when I started being in the present, I suddenly started uh, seeing more flowers, more nature, which I was not seeing them because the mind was full of noise. Office work, this, that, future, past. I was not in the present. When you are in the present, you start experiencing the blessings. You start being more aware. This is what the author is saying, that don't wait for people. Let's say you have to meet someone. If the friend is coming late, it's okay. Be in the present. You will never be bored and you will never have to run away from your thoughts, right? So this is what actually meditation is, being in the present. So he's saying that disidentify with your mind. The moment, every time we create a gap in the stream of thoughts, we are healing ourselves. Soul consciousness is increasing, which means soul consciousness is increasing means I will be able to handle that noise, that thinker in a better way. If I'm doing it, I'll be able to I'll be more peaceful, more happy. I'll start healing myself. This is what author is saying that yes, that stage is reachable. I even, I smile at the noise in my head, like we would smile at the antics of a child. As I told you, I start feeling, with practice, I start feeling from the distance that this thought my mind is creating, and this is not right. This is not right. You know, this is not what I am. This is not what I truly want to do. This is my mind which is creating it. ठीक है? तो ये लेवल हम पहुंच जाएंगे बार बार क्या करना है, दो चीजें जो ऑथर कह रहा है। एक तो disidentify from your mind and be in the present, create gaps of no mind, and we will start increasing that consciousness. ठीक है, वो ब्रेक लगाना हम सीख जाएंगे। ठीक है, okay, so one more page we will read today, then we will I'm going to ask you the questions what we have understood, then we will wind up. ठीक है, okay, so the question is, isn't thinking essential in order to survive in this world? What would you say? Isn't thinking essential in order to survive in this world? I think yes. Your mind is an instrument, a tool. It is there to be used for a specific task, and when the task is completed, you lay it down. As it is, I would say about 80 to 90% of most people's thinking is not only repetitive and useless, but because of its dysfunctional and often negative nature, much of it is also harmful. Observe your mind and you will find this to be true. It causes a serious leakage of vital energy. This kind of compulsive thinking is actually an addiction. What characterizes an addiction? Quite simply this, you no longer feel that you have the choice to stop. It seems stronger than you. It also gives you a false sense of pleasure, pleasure that invariably turns into pain. Thinking is necessary, but author is saying mind is like a tool. We have to do the thinking, then we have to lay it down, which means I have to be in the present. ठीक है, हाँ, एसेंस में हिंदी में भी बताऊंगा, but the author is saying that actually 80 to 90% of most people's thinking is repetitive, is useless, self-harming, negative. If you have any doubt, just observe from this time till the 3 p.m. when we will meet, how much it is harmful. So it causes a serious leakage of vital energy. So I am not using it properly. I'm not using my mind properly. Mind is using me. So this is actually an addiction. What is addiction? That I no longer have the control over it. You feel a sense of pleasure, and it turns into pain. We get negative thoughts, we have that addiction, we feel pleasure, we feel good that I'm thinking this is, but it gives us the pain. So the question है, हाँ, हिंदी में मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ कि ऑथर ये कह रहे हैं कि क्या सोचना जरूरी है। जैसे क्वेश्चन मन में आएगा कि सोचना तो जरूरी है ना, प्लानिंग करना है, फ्यूचर का प्लानिंग करना है, घर का, काम का, ऑफिस का, करियर का। तो ऑथर क्या कह रहा है, बिल्कुल करना है, पर असली में क्या हो रहा है हमारी लाइफ में, हम माइंड को यूज नहीं कर रहे हैं। 80 to 90% हमारे माइंड में नेगेटिव चलता है, रिपीटेटिव चलता है, वही पुरानी बातें याद करते रहते हैं। हार्मफुल चलता है, हार्मफुल खुद के लिए भी, दूसरे के लिए भी। और उससे क्या होता है, हमारी जो वाइटल एनर्जी होती है, प्राण शक्ति जो होती है, खत्म हो जाती है, तो गलत डिसीजन ले लेते हैं। और ये एडिक्शन की तरह हो गया है, ऐसा लगता है कि इस पर कंट्रोल ही नहीं है। और जैसा एडिक्शन होता है, करते वक्त तो अच्छा लगता है, करने के बाद बहुत अजीब सा फीलिंग लगता है। सेम इसके साथ है जो हम नेगेटिव सोचते हैं, राइट। तो व्हाई शुड वी बी एडिक्टेड टू थिंकिंग? क्यों एडिक्ट हो जाते हैं? बिकॉज यू आर आइडेंटिफाइड विद इट, विच मीन्स दैट यू डिराइव योर सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ फ्रॉम द कंटेंट एंड एक्टिविटी ऑफ योर माइंड। क्यों एडिक्ट हो जाते हैं? व्हाई वी गेट एडिक्टेड? बिकॉज आई फील दैट सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ, मेरी आइडेंटिटी, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये मैं हूं, ये तो सोचना ही पड़ेगा। बट वट ऑथर इज ट्राइंग टू से दैट that is a false sense of self. This is not who you are. This is what I am talking. This is what author is saying. This is what spirituality is, that I am a soul. I am a peaceful soul, which means from here I have to derive the sense of self. I have to start enjoying being in the present. वर्तमान में रहना, enjoy करना सीखना है। तो वो जो false हमने चीजें पकड़ी हुई है ना, we will start letting go of it, because you believe that you would cease to be if you stop thinking. As you grow up, you form a mental image of who you are based on your personal and cultural conditioning. We may call this phantom self the ego. It consists of mind activity and can only be kept going through constant thinking. The term ego means different things to different people, but when I use it here, it means a false self created by unconscious identification with the mind. Why people, uh, when we say we have to do meditate, why we are not able to do that? क्यों लोग मेडिटेशन नहीं कर पाते, उन्हें डर लगता है? बिकॉज एक डर है कि ओके, इफ आई एम नॉट दिस, आई एम नॉट माई बॉडी, आई एम नॉट माई पोजेशन, then who am I? I am nothing. And that is a scary thought for many people. डर जाते हैं लोग कि अच्छा मैं कुछ भी नहीं हूँ क्या, आप सब ये कहते हो, बड़े लोग ये कह के गए हैं मेरा कुछ भी नहीं है। तो दे फील scared that I have to leave everything. So based on that, I think that I am this thing. I am a father, I am a son, I am a boy, I am Indian, I am English. This is all self ego. I am a manager. I am a doctor. This is all the false ego. This is not true. That's why we are addicted. So if I'm getting a thought that I am a manager, so I will keep on thinking about thoughts related to that. Here I have to be in the present, and I have to stop disidentify from all those things. ठीक है? Okay. Uh, 1 minute. Let me check how much is left. Okay. I think time हो गया है ना? So let me see if we can cover the next page or at least one paragraph. It is related to this. हाँ, ठीक है. We will cover this, है ना? This paragraph, huh? This paragraph is okay. To the ego, the present moment hardly exists. To the ego, present moment hardly exists. Only past and future are considered important. This totally reversal of the truth accounts for the fact that in the ego mode, the mind is so dysfunctional. It is always concerned with keeping the past alive because without it, who are you? It constantly projects itself into the future to ensure its continued survival and to seek some kind of release or fulfillment there. It says, one day when this, that, or this happens, I'm going to be peaceful, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be okay. Even when the ego seems to be concerned with the present, it is not the present that it sees. It misperceives it completely because it looks at it through the eyes of the past, or it reduces the present to a means to an end that always lies in the mind projected future. Observe your mind and you will see how it works. Present moment holds the key to liberation, but you cannot find the present moment as long as you are your mind. So simply he's saying that ego does not want to be in the present. Ego means that thing which wants you to get hurt, that mind identification. It will always keep on thinking about past because ego thinks that I may find something there. Something means if I get something there, we think that ये नहीं होना चाहिए था, this should not have happened. It is seeking peace there, right? Similarly, it is seeking peace in the future. Once I will get uh, uh, 1 crore in my account, once I pass this, once I get a successful job, once I become a manager, शादी हो जाए, बच्चे हो जाए, then I will be peaceful. That is never going to happen. This is what the reality is, right? Because ego wants to be there, seeking something. But the reality is, I have to be in the present, and even the ego, if it is in the present, it will create mental images. It will see the present moment. You're talking to somebody, it will keep telling you all the past things. उन्होंने ना ये किया था, इन्होंने ये किया था. When you see a person, it happens. When you see a person, everything of the past comes to your mind. That is ego. That is mind identification because every day is a new day. Of course, we have to learn from the mistakes, but we should not keep that mental image of that person that, they did this to me. This is what happens, right? We get anxiety when we see someone who is not good to you. Uh, so you understand, right? So this is what the ego is playing. This is what mind identification is doing all the mischievous things. We have to stop doing it now. We have to start putting a break. How? He said it very beautifully. Be in the present. Observe your thoughts. Observe what kind of thoughts. So today's homework throughout the day, check what are the patterns, what are the wrong, negative, waste, harmful thoughts are coming in my mind, and start changing it one by one. Don't be afraid. Don't get sad that why this kind of thought is coming. It's okay. It's okay. It is going to come. I have to start dealing with it. ठीक है, तो पूरा आज का होमवर्क क्या करना है? चेक करना है अपने पैटर्न्स को, गलत पैटर्न्स को, रॉन्ग थॉट प्रोसेसेस को, और फिर उस स्ट्रीम में छोटा छोटा, बड़ा ब्रेक नहीं आएगा. ज्यादा लंबे समय तक आप प्रेजेंट में नहीं रहोगे. इट्स ओके. छोटे छोटा गैप, 1-2 सेकंड का भी बीच में गैप आया, when you are in the present, you will start feeling joy. So this is the present moment is holds the key to liberation. ठीक है? But you cannot find the present moment as long as you are your mind. So I'm not a thinker, I'm an observer. All right? So this is what we read today. Um, again, okay, I will explain the few instructions later. But let's come to the question part, uh, so that we all can interact also for 10 minutes. Okay? So, question number one, I hope you have seen it, but let me ask you again. Based on the learnings from yesterday's and today's study sessions, what are the two ways that you can use to create a gap in the mind stream? So, 1 minute. I'm not able to see others. So you can start your video, and co-host will uh, raise your hand, and co-host will unmute you. Who wants to answer? Okay. Samriddhi, uh, yes.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Greetings of peace. So, according to me, first has to be body awareness. Am I visible? Yeah. It would be for me, it's not just feeling a physical form, but a deeper connection within. It's like imagining the subtle sensations in your hands or your feet when you touch something, or like the rise or fall of your breath, not just in your arms but throughout your body. According to me, this type of awareness acts as an anchor in the present, and it breaks the constant cycle of mental chatter, which gets so overwhelming sometimes. And the second has to be observing the present moment. Imagining yourself as a detached observer goes a long way. Looking around and like simply taking in the sounds, the sights, the smells without any judgment, noticing the little details of the nature, the warmth of the sun, the texture of the leaf. Like, if you ask me, I always want to be the girl who gets excited when there are different colors in the sky. And I believe all these little things about like being in the present moment, it quiets the analytical mind, and it brings our focus to the present experience, which is so enriching in itself. So,
That's so wonderful, so wonderful. As I also said that I remember a day when there was a very beautiful flower, uh, when I used to get down from my home, and there was a beautiful flower, and it was there for so many years, and I haven't really seen it. When I started practicing it, I was like, wow, this is such a wonderful flower. So that day I realized that I am not in the present. And when there is a constant chatter, uh, life does not feel good. Life feels like a burden, a misery. These are the two things I have to do. Be in the present moment, whatever you're doing. Even the simplest of the things becomes interesting. Washing your dishes, बर्तन साफ करना भी interesting हो जाता है when I am in the present, right? So second is I am observing your thoughts, right? Okay, so the second question is, um, can you share a personal experience where being fully present in the moment led to a sense of peace or joy? How do you usually bring yourself back to the now when you find your mind wandering in the past or future? Yeah, so who is going to answer that? Okay, Anika sister, yes, please.
Om Shanti, am I audible?
Yes, Om Shanti. Yes.
So there isn't a particular experience that I want to share. I can't think of one particular experience, but it's usually when I sit to meditate. especially during Amrit Vela, which is the early hours of morning. So when I sit and I just, sit in silence, I try to visualize a point of light. So it's not all the time because the mind keeps diverting here and there, but there have been a few instances when I have felt that complete sense of bliss, that just being complete, being full of life, feeling that unconditional love. And it's just such a strong feeling that you can't explain in words, and you just feel like radiating that love to everyone. So yeah, those are the experiences that I just want to feel constantly, not just for that few hours or few seconds or minutes, but constantly to be in that feeling and to be in that awareness that we are connected to the divine. So this is the experience I wanted to share. And secondly, the question was, how do you bring yourself back to the now when you find your mind wandering? So this happens technically all the time. So what I usually do is I just start creating these thoughts. I'm not my mind. I'm not these thoughts. I'm not these relationships. So I start telling myself all these lines. So that really helps. And as you were explaining today when you were reading the book as well, we start getting this deeper realization that it is not us, and we start detaching ourselves. Because as soon as I start saying those lines to myself, I realize, yeah, it is not me. All these thinking, it's you just start getting that deeper realization. So yes, this is what I wanted to share. And thanks to you, because I've been watching your videos, and that's where I've got all these lines that I keep telling myself. So thank you.
Yeah, you said it very beautifully that when we are, that's why we meditate, when we are truly connected to ourselves and with God. That is the ultimate thing we have to do. That is the stage, that is the pinnacle, वो ऊंचाई है जो हम सबको पहुंचना है. एंड असली में प्रेजेंट रहना तो वही होता है. द रियल मीनिंग ऑफ बीइंग प्रेजेंट इज देयर. बट yeah, these are the stepping stones, these are the steps that even if I'm doing everything, I have to be in the present. And um, this is what we have to do, that keep a check where my mind is. If I'm not feeling good, then you will see that mind is not in the present. You will find it wandering in the past or expecting something in the future. Just talk to it like we talk to a kid. If the kid is, if in kid's hand there is some sharp thing, hurting thing, कोई knife है, कुछ है, तो हम कैसे प्यार से समझाते हैं. Similarly, हमें अपने आप को समझाना है कि there is nothing in the past. I don't want to energize these things, to be in the present. Okay. So time constraint is there. We are already, little ahead. So I'll just ask the third question. So, so according to this book, what is the most important step on your journey towards enlightenment? What is the most important thing, most important step on your journey towards enlightenment? What do you think?
Om Shanti, is my voice audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so according to this book, the most important step towards enlightenment is to identify from the mind and to learn to be in the present moment. So, when you start observing your thoughts, when you start to create that separation from your thoughts, you begin to observe two personalities. And that is when you realize how your mind is truly the tormentor, how your mind causes you so much pain, but your true self can never cause you that pain. So that is like a very wonderful realization. And the author also talks about how the mind is an instrument that takes you over. In today's world, with artificial intelligence coming in, with advancements in the scientific feel. People think that one day the world will be run by machines, but I don't think that day will come, because that thing has already happened. The mind, which is an instrument, has already taken us over. So that is what I feel. That is what I would say for this question.
That's so wonderful, and this is so true. And yes, this is the thing we have to do. So, uh, observing that, my mind is creating things. So, yeah, very beautifully said. So, this is our homework also. Okay? So, we will do this. So, this is the initial phase. So, um, we have to understand that uh, it is going to take some time for us to understand all these things. Like I read somebody asking that in how many days this book will get completed. Again, what is mind doing? Ego wants to be there. When I will complete the book, I will feel good. It's not about how many days it is going to take. It's about how much I'm learning each day and experiencing it, right? So ideally, this question should not come in the future. Think about it, why it is coming. This is what I have to do. And there's one more question on YouTube that the soul is thinker or mind is thinker. I'm really confused. So soul is the thinker. Sorry, soul is the observer and mind is the thinker. Mind's work, mind's task is to think. uh, Soul, which means soul has three faculties. One is mind, which thinks, intellect, which observes. So, of course, mind, it's not that mind just thinks negative. Mind thinks positive also. When I'm saying that I am a soul, I'm a peaceful soul, this is also a thought, right? But what is happening? This is coming from my real self, my intellect, my true nature, my soul consciousness, that I am stopping that mental image, mental stream of thoughts, negative thoughts, creating a gap and telling that this is not I am. I am a peaceful soul, right? So I am observing, soul is observing. Remember that? Soul does the observance part, and soul, then after observance, soul guides the mind. Don't think this, be in the present, right? I hope along the journey we will understand it more and more. So yeah, time ho gaya hai. So just one thing I want to say, that this is the starting phase. That's why I'm reading each and every line and then explaining. After few days, this is not going to be the same. We have to read it on our own. Then we will discuss. Then I will explain all the important things. So uh, yes, learn in the be understand all these things when we are in the initial phase. Some trial and error we will do, some different things we will apply, but just be there for few days, and I'm sure that this is helping you to understand more about your real self, and helping you to identify what is the issue. असली में रूट क्या है और क्या बात है, उसको ठीक कैसे करना है. ठीक है? So all right then, it's 4:20. So tomorrow we will again meet at the same time. Don't identify with your mind. Be there. This is important. Be here on time. Okay? Chalo. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Om Shanti.